and welcome to My Counselor Online. My name is Brittany, and if you have ever been curious about what online counseling is, or dare I say, even skeptical if it's actually effective, then you are in for a treat. Today, I'm sitting down with Josh Spurlock, the founder and CEO, the heart and the brains behind My Counselor Online. He is going to be answering candidly some of your most questions about what this really is. So we're just going to jump right in. So Josh, how effective is video counseling compared to face-to-face counseling?
I love that you kind of pose the question for the skeptics out there, right? Because I was totally amongst them, right? Like I was a total skeptic when it came to online counseling. If you would have rewound and asked me when I was in graduate school and coming out of graduate school, early in practice, starting the counseling practice, we did not do online counseling, and I did not think that it was a viable option for therapy, right? So I would have been a big time skeptic, right? But it was my experience with it that really changed things. Rewind and a couple that I was working with that was in a neighboring area, 2 hours away, that had no clinicians, no therapists in that area that could help them, was traveling 2 hours one way to get to our office to do some work, and they had kids, and so they would travel up on a Friday, drop off their kids at their parents' house, come in, we'd do our session, they'd spend the night, and drive back on Saturday to get back home. And we did this for months as we were working through, and they're making great progress. And then one of their kids got sick, and they couldn't make the drive, and they said, Josh, man, we're making good progress in towards our goals, and we really don't want to lose momentum. Would you be willing to try doing some online counseling with us so that we could continue the work that we're doing? I was like, I don't know. I don't know if online can work, but I'm willing to try it. Like, here's all the disclaimers of this and that, and I can't guarantee that it will work or be helpful or whatnot, but I'm willing to try it because I love you guys and I want to see you keep making progress. We'll work with it. So we did. We gave it a shot, and it went really well. And we made the same kind of progress in working online as I would have expected that we would have if they were sitting in my office with me. And it went so well that they said, hey, that drive is really terrible. Uh, any chance we could give it another shot since it went so well? I said, I guess. I mean, it went well for you. It seemed like we made the progress I would expect to me. So sure. And we just continued doing the work that we were doing and managed to get the same outcomes, the same results, the same benefit that I would have expected for us to get if we were working in person. And so it really began to change my thinking around online counseling, and is really what began the process that eventually had us as a practice pivot and begin to focus on online counseling and learn how to do that really well, which at the time was a weird thing, right?
Right.
This pre-COVID, this was, online counseling was still pretty new at the time. And a lot of folks were like, I don't know about that. Like, it seems to be working, and people who don't have good access to care are able to get care. And so I think we're going to do this, and have just really seen it benefit a lot of folks. And then along comes COVID, and the entire field overnight has to move online. And the rest of the field has learned what many of the early adopters learned, that, hey, this can actually work and is a really viable way of providing care to folks.
That's awesome. So really, My Counselor Online has been ahead of the pack the whole time, really paving the way for what online counseling can be because you saw a need for this couple and and I think I love that about My Counselor Online is you train all your counselors to put the needs of their, clients first and meet them where they're at. And you literally met them online where they were at. Like you
Yeah.
saw that they wanted it and you took a chance and like grew from that. And I love that I love that heart. I think that that story completely epitomizes what My Counselor Online stands for when they think about the relationship between the counselor and their client.
Totally, totally, exactly. And we really have just felt that the Lord paved the way and led us through that, right? That it wasn't something that we began with in our mind, but instead something that the Lord changed inside of me through
Yeah.
our experience with it. And then as a leadership team and as our whole practice kind of changed our direction and prepared us for what it is that he wanted to do through us.
No, that's awesome. So I know you touched on it a little bit, but what kinds of people can benefit from online counseling, say from compared to traditional face-to-face counseling?
Yeah, there's very few folks that can't benefit from it, right? There's very few situations that primarily involve technical difficulties, right? That if you don't have internet access, you don't
Right.
have the equipment or technology to, or the know-how of how to navigate the technology, then online counseling is going to be a real difficulty for you, right? Because you got to
Right.
the internet and you've got to be able to navigate a computer and or a tablet or a phone or something of that sort. But especially thanks to COVID, if there's a silver lining anywhere in the challenges that 2020 brought, it
Right.
caused a ton of study and research and evaluation around the effectiveness of online counseling with a variety of different populations and a variety of different modalities for treatment. And what has been discovered through the course of that is regardless of the modality of therapy, the outcomes and effectiveness of it being delivered through this kind of treatment delivery system is effective. It works just as well as it does in person. That while it feels different, right? I'd much rather be sitting in a room with you right now having this conversation than
Right.
on the screen. That it feels different. The effectiveness of it is really not any less effective.
No, yeah, that's amazing. And I appreciate that too. And I think, because My Counselor Online, you're training people to talk to people through Zoom. Like it's not, someone like a coworker who's like, I don't know, I've never used Zoom. You get the client gets to be that way, and that's great and that's totally fine. But I think, you guys are trained like how to work through Zoom and how to connect with people. And I think that is the big difference. Maybe if someone's feeling hesitant, like, can it work? Just like you and me, it's like, I kind of forget there's a screen there because we can relax. We're able to be together. And you kind of set that as a counselor, you set that tone of like, it's okay, we're chill. There's all these great benefits, to
Uh,
being over Zoom. And even sometimes, with depending on where you are as far as like the COVID stuff, you have to, like, there's no other option. So what a great like gift from God that this exists even for so many
I,
people.
the trade-offs are uh, there, right? There's a difference in the feel of it, but the benefits that you gain in it are huge. So many people have access to care in ways that they didn't before. And that means a ton. It means, for one thing, folks that are maybe expats or missionaries that
Mhm.
are kind of transient and find themselves all over the place, and they're able to have consistency in the care that they receive. People in rural settings where there's not practitioners in an accessible, physically accessible distance really from them are able to get care where they wouldn't. Folks whose schedules just make it difficult to carve out the space and time to travel across town and be able
Right.
to come into an office are those whom just the shame, embarrassment, or fear around it make it difficult to go sign up, sit in a waiting room, and kind of go through that process. Now have the safety and the confidentiality of being able to access it from a space that's comfortable to them and that is convenient for them and that they can work into their schedule. And so just the benefit of it is tremendous and it's effective. It works.
No, that's amazing. So, just for anyone who's like, okay, but like, what if, if someone isn't tech savvy, do you think they'd still be able to work video counseling?
Oh, absolutely. That fortunately things are so much better now than they were when the technology first came out, and that it's pretty easy to navigate, right? That if you have used FaceTime, if you have done any sort of video conferencing at all, very intuitive, easy to use. Even if you haven't, it's simple as a link coming to an email, and you can click on it. That opens up, walks you through instruction wise. And at MyCounselor Online, we have like test sessions that you're able to do with our receptionist team. And so they'll completely troubleshoot the technology with you if there's some sort of difficulty ahead of your session, so that you can make sure that it's all set up and goes smooth and you don't have any difficulties when it comes time for to meet with your counselor.
That's excellent. Yeah, and I feel like that takes away even some of the anxiety if it is brand new to doing something like this. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna have practice run. You know it's gonna happen when you log in and everything. So
Yeah, and we look to remove all the barriers that we can, even around the uncertainty around it. That's why we offer a risk-free guarantee for our online therapy. Like if you give it a shot and try and it just doesn't work, technology doesn't work, you're not comfortable with it, doesn't feel good, we'll completely refund all your fees. 100% risk-free, no strings attached. All you got to do is be able to give it a shot and go, hey, this isn't working for me, and you get a refund. So there's really all the risk and all the difficulty around giving it a shot, giving it a try. We've worked to kind of take that out of the equation for you so that you can get the help that you're looking for.
yeah, I totally hear that, and I can see that. Sounds like that's your heart, is to make it as easy as possible for someone. However, just for that, maybe that one or two people, who are on the fence, what would you say to them if they're still kind of like, struggling to kind of make that jump to online video counseling?
Yeah, I would just say that it's normal, that the anxiety that you're feeling is normal to feel, and that there's a lot that you have to face internally in order to reach out for help. And I just respect your courage in facing the hard things. And we want to do everything we can to make it as an easy experience with you as you can, so that you can connect with the help that you need in order to be able to reach your goals. And just we're with you, and we want to be with you, and to see the hopes that you have for yourself and for your situation be realized, and to remove all the obstacles that we can for you to achieving that.
That's awesome. Well, Josh, thank you so much for sitting down, taking the time to just explain really like the heart and mission behind My Counselor Online. For anyone watching, you can go to mycounselor.online/online-counseling for more information, or even to set up an appointment. And we really appreciate you taking the time to it's a big step to even consider, what does online counseling look for. So we appreciate you watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.